Wherever you are in the world, welcome to another edition of Jerry's Take on China. A special welcome to all the new subscribers over the last few weeks as the channel's built up. There's more of you on board, and it's great to have you. As I often say, the best way to support me in this channel is to share. I don't monetize it, I've never solicited donations for it, and I make these videos in my own time just because there is so much misinformation out there. So please feel free to use these videos to counter that misinformation as you see it. And here's some more. While some report that China's economy is way more screwed than anyone thought, there's one underlying theme. It's only way more screwed if it maintains the current leadership. As long as people have been paying attention, there have been claims that China's economy is on the brink of collapse. To date, it's done the opposite. Yes, growth is slower than pre-pandemic, but it's never been true, except in predictions from Western economists, that China is on the verge of collapse. Western experts think differently to Chinese experts, and they keep getting it wrong. Journalists, even in reputable media, amplify this because they think they know what would happen in their own corporations if the same situation were to happen there. But there's more. The real reason to project this narrative appears much more political than it is economic. The predictions fit the suggested narrative that the problems exist because of poor governance. China's economy, in a surprising departure from gloomy predictions, grew ahead of expectations in the first quarter of 2023. An even bigger surprise was that exports surged in the first quarter, something the experts say was not only unexpected, but for some reason they say it warns of weaknesses ahead. There are indeed two very major hurdles in the Chinese economy right now. One is the housing market. High debts, increasing prices in the market, low affordability for ordinary people to buy their first homes, and there's no doubt that there's overexposure in this market. But this is not state debt, it's private sector. And one major difference between China and the West is that Chinese interest rates have fallen over the last 12 months consistently, while Western countries seen and continue to see increases. What Western media calls this problem actually appears to be well into the solution. In November last year, the Chinese government issued a 16-point plan to address the issue, and this year, most analysts, if you read them, report positive changes. It seems the major problem isn't actually a problem. This is not to say the housing crisis has been fully resolved yet. There are strong indicators of a turnaround. A solution was sought, it was implemented, and the results, despite Western media reports to the contrary, are showing positive signs that this sector is on its way to better days. Just under 2 years ago, Evergrande encountered serious problems. Experts, again, predicted total failure of the Chinese economy, and yet 2 years later, no collapse in the economy, or even in that sector, have occurred. There's been no inflation hikes. There have been reductions in interest rates, and all the indicators in China show a return to positivity. Regime change wasn't needed then, and it isn't needed now. Strong laws, industry compliance, and punishments for non-compliance were needed. Something else that's contributed to stability in the industry is this expression, houses are for living in, not for speculating, attributed to Xi Jinping at the 19th Party Congress, but it's causing a complete change in bank lending philosophy. The other, a much more serious dark cloud on the horizon, is youth unemployment. It's a huge problem, needing another very strong and stable approach. The People's Bank of China is forecasting positive and stronger growth for the second quarter. The bank's governor stated earlier this month, as he announced yet another cut in interest rates due to an inflation rate of just 0.2%. That's something much of the developed world would love to experience. However, he made a somber reference to a highly inflated youth unemployment figure. The number is believed to be around 19.5%, meaning that 1 in 5 young people in China are unemployed. The stark reality is that this problem will become worse before it gets better. And there are some factors making this certain. A very high number of graduates coming out of university are unable to quickly find jobs. A great number of school leavers who are unskilled are not being picked up by factories. And due to the incredible success of China's online retail industry, that's ensuring they aren't getting picked up by retailers to work in shops. Urbanization has peaked. More skilled employees are leaving vocational training and university every year. And a lot of work is being automated. Agriculture can't provide the solution, as most of these young people are unskilled for the work, and much of it is also automated. It's globally apparent too that IT, tech and social media companies are letting people go in huge numbers. China's no different. There are views that China is kicking this can along the road by enrolling large numbers of unemployed people into 3-year vocational training courses and hoping when they graduate the country might have created enough jobs to use them. But this would be wrong, and China knows it. It's likely much of the manufacturing will go offshore, especially low-level manufacturing, so different training is required. It isn't the first unemployment crisis in the history of the People's Republic of China. It's the third. The first two were overcome by government policy. After the Cultural Revolution, many workers were taken on by the state-owned enterprises, and this guaranteed them work for life. However, policy reforms meant that SOEs needed to become more efficient. Many were hived off, closed down, or put into private ownership, resulting in a second unemployment crisis 20 years later. Again, the government stepped in, created an environment for private enterprise to pick up over 50 million new employees, and the crisis was resolved. But simple solutions won't work, and neither will throwing money at this problem. And we can see why the experts suggest that this will be China's economic Achilles heel, because it's clear that the problem will get worse in the short term. Therefore, we should expect more predictions of growing unrest and collapse. However, it's not all doom and gloom. A policy paper has been written and issued, and steps are in place. Surprisingly, one of the best initiatives relates to one of China's other major problems. China has an aging population, but very little in the way of industry to cater for them. Traditionally, this role is being carried out by the family, but all that's likely to change as the 70s born retire. Chinese retirement age is 55 for women and 60 for men. The government is investing heavily in both state-owned and private enterprises to cater for retirees. That's up from 200 billion to over 1 trillion RMB last year. And some of that investment is in vocational training, so people can learn skills in the field, as well as housekeeping, service work, for the ever-growing number of middle-class families. Other solutions include new internships. Over 1 million of them will be created. This will be funded by the government. Flexible payrolls are introduced, not to help business owners exploit more workers, but so more people can work part-time. Massive investments are being made in entrepreneurship so that innovative and creative people who have great ideas can be helped to bring these ideas to fruition and create more jobs while doing so. If we read and watch China's government releases, we see they know there are problems, they know what they must do. Historically, they've introduced measures to overcome them. The coming crisis with youth unemployment is going to be hard. It will hurt some families, and it will take time to overcome. But overcome it, they will. It's long-term stability in government that provides these solutions, not short-term election cycle changes. And it's absolutely certain that these crises will be resolved, and the people benefiting most from the solution will eventually be the young people, the future of China. Thanks once again for watching Jerry's Take on China, and I'll see you next time. Please feel free to like, share, and comment. I'll get back to almost all of the comments the next day. Thank you. See you again.